Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Jimmy Dore Show. We have special guests with us, the host of the Robust Opposition. She's a great activist, progressive organizer. It's Lauren Steiner. Hi, Lauren. How are you?
Hi, Jimmy.
So nice to have you on the show.
I'm so happy to be on your show.
So we have a lot to talk about, but the first thing we're going to talk about is the Poor People's Campaign, because Lauren is active in that. And here's from their website, the Poor People's Campaign. And they say the Poor People's Campaign, a national call for moral revival, is uniting tens of thousands of people across the country to challenge the evils of systemic racism, poverty, the war economy, ecological devastation, and the nation's distorted morality. So that's being led by that guy, Reverend Barber, who did the Moral Mondays. We had Nick Brana on, and he spoke about he's working with the Poor People's Campaign. And I just want to go very briefly, if you go to their website, a moral agenda based on fundamental. This is what they're about. They say, did you know that there are 140 million people who are poor or low income in the United States today? That's half. So that's what I've been saying. Is one of my mantras is that what do you call a system that takes the richest country in the world and renders half of its population poor or low income? You call that a failed system. Okay, that's what I'm saying. According to the OPM in 2016, 12.7% of the U.S. population, or 40.6 million people, were poor. And nearly 30%, or 95 million people, were low income, which is defined as living at less than twice the poverty line. An alternative measure developed in 2009, the Supplemental Poverty Measure, or the SPM, takes into account income as well as costs of food, clothing, housing, and utilities, and government programs that have assisted low-income families and individuals who are not otherwise designated as poor. So there's a more expansive, inclusive definition of what it means to be poor or low income, and that's what this supplemental poverty measure is about. Using the more thorough supplemental poverty measure, 43.5% of the U.S. population, or 140 million people, were poor or low income in 2016. Our government does not provide information under the SPM on poverty, low income status for all races, genders, identities, or sex. So this is what they're talking about. Half the country now is poor or low income. So they're reviving Martin Luther King's Poor People's Campaign, which is what he was working on in the last days of his life. And so now they're doing this 40 days of action. And so they're trying to raise consciousness and awareness about the poverty and what's happening in America. And they've been protesting here in California at the state capitol. So this was from May 22nd, 18 protesters arrested at the Capitol sit-in. Now, Lauren, you were up in Sacramento just this week. Monday, you went to do another action, right, to raise awareness about the Poor People's Campaign. You went to Sacramento. So tell me what happened.
Well, I went to live stream it. I knew that there was going to be an arrestable action. I knew that if I wanted to be arrested, I would need to be there at 9 in the morning for the training. I made a decision with the friends that I was driving up with that we did not want to be arrested, and I was going to live stream it. I was live streaming it with Jovanka Beckles from the Richmond Progressive Alliance, who came over from Richmond because she's a supporter of the campaign. And I was covering the speeches, and then I was going to go in and cover one of the disruptions. And
so when you say you're covering the speeches outside the Capitol?
Yes, they had a press conference, and they had some very moving speeches about all the different issues.
Okay.
And, yeah.
And then you went inside the Capitol to cover their disruption, and they were planning on getting arrested, those people doing the disruption. But you weren't planning on being arrested.
No.
You were just planning on covering it as an independent journalist.
Exactly.
And so I want to show some of that right now. So here you are. So you're inside. So what's going on there, Lauren? So
what's going on here is after a few minutes of they were honoring some LGBTQ heroes on the floor, and after a few minutes of that, they started chanting and singing, and they dropped the banner, and almost immediately you can see the sergeant-at-arms came over, told them to pick up the banner, takes the banner, rolls it up, removes it from them. They continue to sing, and then at a certain point they stopped singing, and they started reading off their demands.
Okay. And they started,
Yeah, so I'm just kind of showing you...
So that's them taking the banner away.
Yes. No sooner did they drop it, and they had told us that we couldn't have, they had told us on the line that we couldn't have signs. So then I started covering the police, and at 4 minutes into this video, you see one of the officers point over to me, to the private dick, as my friend who pointed this out to me. She said, notice 4 minutes and 12 seconds in, the private dick, you're pointed out to the private dick, and then he comes over to me. Well, actually, he tells the woman to tell me that I have to leave because the chamber is closed. So you'll hear that in the video.
Okay, so here we go. Let's watch it.
Chamber, so at this time you are expected to leave.
I have a First Amendment right to be here on the media. I'm documenting.
So now who came over here and said you have to leave?
This was the woman, the one who stood outside and said, welcome to the Senate. We have a few rules. I have videotaped her saying you are allowed to photograph. They just said no flash cameras. In fact, I was interviewing people in there. A guy came up to me, said, you're not allowed to interview. I said, I'm just talking to this person in a normal tone of voice as if we were sitting together and having a conversation. Why can't I, you're not allowed to do interviews. That's all they do. They're just very authoritarian. They just repeat the policy to you. And I'm like, fine. I'll just, while we were waiting for the Senate to get going, I'll just find people, go outside and interview them. That's what I did. Then I came back. And this is the woman who was basically telling me that.
Okay, you're still going to be arrested if you do not leave at this time because the chamber is now closed.
Well, all right, fine.
So just imagine, that's what these guys do for a living. Their whole life is they have to put on a gun and go mess with women who are protesting in behalf of poor people.
Clergy.
Clergy. That's a great. It's real. I'm doing good. You're a tool. These guys you're just a tool of oligarchs. And you're not tough, and you don't have courage, and you certainly don't have an idea of what's actually happening in your country. Because if you had a broader perspective on what was happening, you'd be joining these people.
Yeah.
But you don't. And that's why they chose you to do this job, because they're not big thinkers. That's who these kind of guys are. And then the state gives them a gun. Anyway, I just want to just so everybody knows, that's who these guys are, okay?
And when I was talking to one of them, who was a nice guy, the one who was processing me at the CHP headquarters, I tried to explain it to him, and I'm like, well, what do you think about this? And he says, I can't talk about this on the job. I don't have an opinion.
Ha! I'm just a tool.
Yeah.
That's what he's saying. My dad was a cop, and he would say the same thing to me, and I'm like, Dad, you smoke cigarettes and you drink. How could you arrest people for doing drugs? He goes, oh, it's not up to me to decide. It's for the judge. So that's their whole thing. They don't ever have to take personal responsibility. And I'm like, so you would have arrested Rosa Parks on the bus? You would have arrested her for riding on the front of the bus? And he goes, no. And I go, so sometimes you think for yourself. Sometimes.
Yeah.
But not all the time. You don't allow yourself to think for yourself. That's a luxury. So that's exactly the question. So what did the guy say when he said he doesn't allow himself to have an opinion?
He's not allowed to talk about it. I don't have an opinion while I'm working.
How could you not have
So in other words, if I saw him afterwards, if I met him at a bar, he would have a conversation. But on the job, he's not allowed to talk about it.
That is. So you're not allowed to have an opinion about the horrible stuff you're doing or whatever it is you're doing.
Right.
That's just crazy. So here it is. Here we go.
Fine. You arrest a journalist? That's going to look really bad.
Do you have your credentials?
I have my card right here. And hang on a second. I'm an independent journalist. I'm not.
It doesn't matter.
Well, I am still. It doesn't matter. I'm still entitled to document this. Why don't you arrest them first? You want to arrest me because I'm showing this. The whole world is watching people.
So you're asking why don't they arrest the protesters and not just the journalists? Why are you arresting the journalists first?
Yes.
Because they don't want you to cover how they arrest them. That's why.
Yeah, and that's why I said the whole world is watching, folks. Share this video. I want you to watch. They're going to arrest me for videos, for live streaming this. Share this video. You're going to arrest media right now?
Yes.
I want you to tell me what I'm being arrested for.
Unlawful assembly. Leave right now.
Why am I? I'm not
Leave
assembling.
right now. Leave right now.
I'm not
It's the last time I'm going to tell you.
All right, so fine. Arrest me.
Okay.
I'm videotaping
Put
this
cuffs
arrest.
on her, please.
I'm videotaping this arrest. You can't do
Yes,
that.
I can.
You can. You're under arrest.
Well, you can't. What am I?
He's like a 12-year-old. That's like the emotional response of a 12. Yes, I can. Yes, I can. That's most cops. That's why they're hired. If they were deep thinkers or if they had opinions about things like we do, they wouldn't be cops. They wouldn't do this stuff.
And let me tell you something. I know from Occupy, because I was part of the Occupy Los Angeles movement, they did not give the dispersal order. So first they told me you have to leave because the chamber is closed. Remember, that's what the woman said? Yes. And then I said, why are you arresting me? And he said,
unlawful
assembly. I have another person's live stream from after I was taken away, and you can see that they first gave the order. He said, this is the first time, there's going to be another time, and then you're going to be arrested. If you look at that person's angle, it shows where I was sitting, and there's no people there. So by the time, when they arrested me, they had not even given that order yet.
Okay, so you get arrested, and now here's a little bit more of you. So this guy really seems to be. So now they're chanting, and this is, where is this, in the rotunda? Where is this?
Yeah, this is right outside the Senate chamber.
Okay, so they're doing like a chant. Yeah. And now you're going to come through here in a second, and we're going to see that cop. He's manhandling you pretty much.
Oh, he was manhandling me. In fact, in the room, he had those cuffs so tight. I said, I can't, my circulation is being cut off. He says, too bad, next time don't get arrested. So that was the only time I panicked, because I really started to feel the blood, like the blood wasn't getting through to my fingers. And I thought about Eric Garner. And I said, this is like Eric Garner. Remember when he said, I can't breathe? And then I started shouting out to my senator, who I thought was still down there, Ben Allen, it's Lauren Steiner. They're arresting me for live streaming. And he says, you're embarrassing yourself. And I'm like, I don't care how I sound. And then later, as we're walking along, you'll see that I say to him, if you play the clip that long, I say to him, what's embarrassing is 58,000 people in Los Angeles sleeping on the streets, or 45,000 people a year who die from lack of health insurance. That's embarrassing.
I agree with you.
Yeah.
So here you are. Here he is manhandling you.
That's Jovanka Beckles.
Giving you the nice elbow. Now, what's funny here is these cops have no idea what they're doing. They don't know where they're taking her. They don't even know where to go. Watch what happens.
You don't want to cut the sound off of this, because this is... To be arrested, to stop, so they wouldn't see what we were protesting about. So as soon as I start talking to anybody who was live streaming, he would yank me away to prevent me from testifying, basically.
That's kind of... so he's just walking you around. So this cop is just walking you around... And he doesn't even know where he's taking you.
No.
He has no idea what he's doing. He doesn't know where he's going. Did we get this guy's name?
Yes, they arrested me
when I wasn't displayed. And I was the first to be arrested to stop so they wouldn't see what we were protesting about.
So now, he's not actually taking you anywhere. He's just walking her back and forth anytime she starts to talk to a camera. And he's walking back, has no idea what he's doing. He doesn't know where he's going. Watch this. This is hilarious. So he just keeps walking her back and forth, walking her through very aggressively, by the way. He's got his shades up on his shoulder. That's a cool look. I bet the ladies like it.
Ooh, what did I say there?
I was live streaming. I wasn't disrupting.
Where are you going, Sergeant? Where are you going, Sergeant? He doesn't know where he's going. He just keeps walking you very aggressively, by the way, manhandling you.
Now he's got me at an elevator.
So now he's at an elevator with, I guess we'll go to an elevator. We'll just stand here. But watch what happens. So they're standing there. And now you're talking to another cop. They have no idea what they're doing. That's a good look with the sunglasses on your shoulder. That's a badass look. Ladies must love it. Ladies must love it. So now she starts to talk to a camera, and watch it happen.
As soon as I start, he takes me away.
Where are you going? Where are you taking her? He has no idea where they're going. He's just aggressively walking a woman who's handcuffed through crowds of people. Has no idea where he's going, what he's doing. Now they've decided they're going to take you.
This is where I say, this is...
Now he finally figures out, I guess we'll take people downstairs.
See, and my bag was in my hand, weighing my hands down.
My camera is in my bag. You want to take it out?
No, she cannot touch your stuff now. Absolutely not. I don't know who that is.
It's a friend of mine.
We did this. Ma'am, you're outside the elevator.
Okay, so that's pretty much.
Yeah, that's pretty much it.
So that's pretty much it. So,
Yeah. So then they took us to the CHP. Now, here's what happened. In previous weeks, they took people into the basement. Capitol Police, not CHP, Capitol Police cited and released. So this time they decided to up the antics. They were the ante. They were really going to teach us a lesson. And they took us over to CHP, at which point they could have also processed us, cited us, and released us. But no, they processed us, and then they took us to county jail. And I said, how long are we going to be there? And he says, it could be all night. There's so many of you, we have to process. And they were taking their damn sweet time doing the processing. Meanwhile, I figured out a way to get a hold of my phone.
Oh, okay. So when did they finally let you out?
Well, a little bit before midnight that night. So we had handcuffs on. They handcuffed me at about 2:45
In the afternoon?
And they didn't take the handcuffs off till about 8 p.m. when we got into the holding cell at the jail.
Really?
Yeah. And a lot of people were complaining that the cuffs were too tight. There were a lot of elderly women who had shoulder problems. And to their credit, they did cut the cuffs and they did them again, looser. Some women, they allowed them to have the hands in front of them. But I said, why can't everybody have the hands in front of them? It's policy. And it's like, Jimmy, whenever somebody says it's policy, I see red, because it's like, if you can tell me the reason for the policy and it makes sense to me, I'll follow it. But just to say it's your policy, that's scary.
Yeah.
People that cite that are the people that are susceptible to fascism.
Right. All right. Well, that's the Poor People's Campaign. Lauren up there in Sacramento getting it done. Is there anything else on the agenda for the Poor People's Campaign that you know of?
Yeah. On Saturday, there's going to be the big gathering, march on the National Mall. I'm going to be there covering
This Saturday?
Yeah.
So that's what's the date on that?
The 23rd. And it's the start of a multi-year process. I mean, this was just the start. This 40 days was just the start.
So this Saturday, June 23rd, big action on the Mall of America in D.C.
Yes, from 10 to 2 Eastern Time, I will be live streaming.
Okay. All right. Lauren Steiner, thank you for joining us.
You're welcome.
The next live Jimmy Dore show is July 1st in Portland, Oregon, July 15th in Chicago, and July 27th in Burbank, California. Go to jimmydoorecomedy.com for a link for all those tickets to those shows. Plus, don't forget, become a patron. To help support independent media, we give you hours of bonus content every week. Plus, every Saturday at 2 p.m., we do our Solid Chat Saturday. It's our live stream on Saturdays, 2 p.m. Pacific time. Stick around for that. And please make sure you're subscribed. Even though you think you are subscribed to this channel, they're unsubscribing people every day. Just check. Click subscribe and then click the bell to make sure they send you a notification when we're dropping videos. Otherwise, they won't tell you. Thanks for your support.